you can see that we've already got a slide here for the targets and the incentive details in our presentation that we're mapping out here, but not yet for past winners. Oh, that should be plural. And the reason why I didn't add a slide for past winners is because I know that somewhere in another presentation I've already got a slide which showed the winners of last year's sales incentives. So this is a very common scenario where you want to reuse slides that you know exist somewhere else in another presentation. So what I've got for you in this skill, I do have a couple of files that I would like you to use, one of which is this one here, Enterprise Sales Update, because that's where I'm pretty sure I remember we've got a slide there for previous winners of last year's sales incentive. And if I scroll to the end here, sure enough, there's a slide. And I am sure you are more than capable of using copy and paste to copy that slide from the other existing presentation into our new presentation that we're creating, which you can just see underneath here. So you could absolutely do that, whatever method you usually use, either the buttons or the keyboard shortcuts or a right click. So let's just quickly do that. So I'm going to copy that and paste it into here. So let's just paste that. And what you'll notice is I did have a couple of options with regarding how this formats itself when it's pasted in. I chose the option to retain the formatting from the original document, and you can tell that because of the font style here. But if I look at that and think, oh, that looks a bit ugly, look, I've got the button that will enable me to change my mind and say, oh no, please make it match the rest of this presentation, the destination, and that will change the font style. But I'm just going to delete that because there are other ways we can bring that slide in. So instead of copying and pasting, you could, where was it? There it is. You could simply, I'm getting in a pickle with my windows here, so let's just minimize that. There we go. We could simply drag that slide into our presentation. That will by default adopt the same fonts and colors and whatnot of the rest of the slides. But again, you could use the button to override that and to, for example, retain the source formatting if you want to. But again, I'm going to delete that because there's another way. There's another way we can reuse that slide. And that is this. If you click the bottom half of that new slide button that we've already experienced by seeing the different layouts there, and choose this, reuse slides, what that'll do, it'll open up a panel on the right hand side and enable you to go and browse for any file you like. So I'm actually going to go and pick up the, where was it? The same file that we saw a second ago. So there we go, the sales update file. So let's just open that. And this is quite tidy if you're working on a small screen and you're getting in a muddle with lots of different windows overlapping. Because look, I've got all of those slides that we saw a second ago in the actual separate presentation, which actually I can now close, but I've got that all available in this panel down the side. And it means that I can pick, I could say, yes, I'll have that slide, I'll have that slide, I'll have that slide. It just pops them all in. So I've got 3 new slides I've just added in there. I'm actually just going to delete those. So to select all 3 slides, I'm clicked on one, shift and click on the last of the little selection and press delete. So what I really want to do is just bring in this last one, and I do want to retain the source formatting. The reason for that is I want to give us a bit of tidying up to do with regards to the look and feel when we come on to talk more about slide layouts and the theme and whatnot. So I've finally settled on the method I'm using to bring that slide in. Now this reuse slide panel down the right hand side, another reason why I like it is when you close it, and then maybe later on when you're carrying on working on this particular presentation, if you go back to reuse slides, it'll remember that last presentation that you did have open, so you can then grab another slide there, or of course you can then go and browse for a completely different one. So lots of different ways of bringing in a slide from another presentation. But I do have another file I would like you to take a look at. So that's this one here, brochure draft. So let's imagine somebody had been using PowerPoint to start creating a brochure or some promotional flyers about this, this promotion we're running. And I think, well, actually, I love this. I want to bring these into my presentation, but my goodness, how is that going to work with regards to the slide sizes and layouts? So if I try and drag this in, it's done its best, but I'm thinking, oh, it's kind of all a bit small. So what I tend to recommend is if you do have slides that you want to reuse and the slides are of different shapes and sizes, generally I would say resize the slide before you bring it in. So let's just have a quick chat about slide sizes and whatnot. So this particular presentation, yeah, I want to reuse these slides, but let's imagine I'm going to sort out the slide size first. So if you go to the design ribbon tab, and over here you'll see the slide size button. Now you could just click widescreen just here to change it to the traditional widescreen size for presenting. But look, you've also got custom slide sizes where you can choose from a variety of drop-down options here, plus any custom measurements that you like. For us though, I think actually all we do need to do is change it to the default widescreen layout. So if I choose that, then there are a couple of useful options to consider here, because it's going to ask us, well, in order to resize this page we're looking at, what do you want me to do with the content? Do you want me to maximize it so it fills the slide, or do you want me to make sure that it all fits? Now, I don't know about you, but I don't find these options particularly intuitive. So I would suggest just choose one, see how it looks, and you can always undo and do it again and choose the other one instead. So let's choose, for example, ensure fit. And then I think, oh, well, that's still looking a bit small, so let me undo that. I don't like that. Go back into slide size and choose widescreen, and this time let's choose maximize. Ah, that's better. That's perfect. So that now looks more like the slide that I do want to reuse. Let me just drag that into my underlying presentation there. And just for fun, let's keep the source formatting, because I think the blue bar down the bottom did look quite nice. That presentation that we were meddling with there, well, I can now close that down without saving any of those changes, because I only changed the layout there, the orientation and whatnot, in order to reuse it. So I can just don't save, because I've grabbed what I needed. But there's one more example I want to work through with you with regards to bringing in content from elsewhere in order to quickly populate your presentation. So let's imagine, and indeed if you look at the other file I've given you, you've got a Word document where somebody, either yourself or somebody else, has already started to put together some text which you want to summarize and reuse in your PowerPoint presentation. So what you'll see here is somebody has already started writing out the terms and conditions of this Austria skiing trip sales incentive. And of importance for us to note at this stage is that, look, they have used in Microsoft Word here the heading styles. Now, I do realise this isn't a Microsoft Word course, so don't worry if this isn't something that you really know about or care about, but it is important for what we need to do in PowerPoint, because look, these headings here have been formatted with the heading 1 style, and these little subheadings have been formatted with the heading 2 style. And if I just flick through, you will see, yeah, that's another heading 1 style. Click that, that's another heading 2 style, so is that. And when I bring this document into PowerPoint, PowerPoint is going to use these heading styles to decide where we create new slides and what we use for the bullets. So I think we should try it. Now you need to make sure that this file is closed before you try it, otherwise it'll get upset. So let me just close that down. And then back in our presentation, let's go to the end here. And at the bottom half of that new slide button, that gives us all of these layouts, which is already looking a bit different. We'll talk more about this in the next video. But the option I want for us now is this, slides from outline. And that's where we go and pick up the file that I just showed you in Word that you've got available in this skill. There it is. If I insert that, then it'll take a moment or two to chew on that, but what it will do, let's just check. There we go. Look, it's kind of given me a general title there for the document. Okay, I may or may not need that. But look, what it has done, it has picked up all of the text that was formatted with the heading 1 style and created a new slide for each of those. And any text that was formatted with the heading 2 style becomes a bullet point on that slide. And it has not brought across any of the dense paragraphs of text, because of course PowerPoint isn't designed to display dense paragraphs of text. That's for Word. So it has perfectly picked up the headings and organised them onto some slides for me. So we've now got quite a bit of content for us to play with. Go ahead and save this file, because I would like us to carry right on with this file in the next video, where we will be doing a little bit of tidying up with regards to how this looks and to make sure all of the slides are nice and neat and tidy and the slide layouts are doing what we need them to do. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from CBT Nuggets. Oh, and also if